welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I will be tier ranking all of the Bridgerton books. This is my first time doing a tier ranking video, and I just learned how to screen record on my laptop just a few days ago. I thought I'll do this just to show you which was the best book, and this ranking is my opinion, so without further ado, let's get started. So this is my tier ranking list. I made the whole thing myself. I'll link the tier list maker down below in the description box. I have 5 tiers, which is the ultimate tier, the perfect, satisfaction, meh, and nah. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna start with the first book, which is The Duke and I. This book followed a fake courtship with Daphne and Simon, who is the Duke of Hastings. I really loved the fake relationship, so I'm gonna put it in the satisfaction tier, mainly because, well, it was a nice book, yeah, but it didn't really appeal to me that much. I didn't know, like, there wasn't a part of the book that really attracted to me or anything. So yeah, that's gonna go in the satisfaction list tier right here. Now, continuing with the second book, which is The Viscount Who Loved Me, which is about Anthony's story. Anthony is the oldest brother and the oldest child in the family, so he is Lord Bridgerton. He doesn't want to love, so he chooses to court a woman for convenience who would make the perfect viscountess for him. And well, I think if you watched season 2, he would have listed all his requirements for it. Kate tries to protect her sister from Anthony, well, because he's a rake. She doesn't want her sister to, get involved with him. So she goes to lengths to do it. This would also go in the satisfaction list, mainly because I don't really like enemies to lovers book. It feels a bit boring for me. So, because, you kind of get to assume what's going to happen and anticipate what's going to happen at the end. They're enemies. They're going to end up loving each other. They're going to end up, well, like in this book, happily married. They're going to be viscount and viscountess. So, I don't know. It didn't really appeal to me for it to go to perfect or the ultimate, so it's going to go to satisfaction. But it was good, so it's not going to go in the meh and the nah tier, so it's going to go in satisfaction. Now on to the third book, which is An Offer from a Gentleman. This book is about Sophie, who is an illegitimate daughter of an earl, who tries to make her way out of that house, after the earl died. So it's something like a Cinderella kind of book. She has a stepmother. However, her stepsisters aren't really that bad to her. She wants to get away from her stepmother, who keeps on, and at one point I think she said that you're not good enough, well, because she's the illegitimate daughter who the stepmother has to take care of. So Benedict meets her at a masquerade ball, so he doesn't really know her identity. So this is gonna go at the ultimate tier, mainly because I love the plot. It was definitely a page turner for me because I liked how the author, Quinn, she added illegitimacy for me, because when I was reading it, I was going to think, well, is there going to be another Sophie Beckett in this book? Because, well, in my opinion, at that point when I was reading, I was thinking, how is an illegitimate daughter going to marry one from the famous and most influential family like the Bridgertons? So I thought there was going to be another Sophie Beckett there. But I also liked how it all worked out with, Sophie thinking she's going to go to jail and her getting arrested at one point. So that's why it's going to be at the ultimate tier. Now moving on to the next book, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. This is about Colin and Penelope's story. Colin has been Penelope's crush since, well, forever, since she's known him. But, well, Colin doesn't really like her because he doesn't like her at the start. I know because at one point he says, I'm never going to court Penelope. Frankly, he said that to his brothers, and Penelope was there. So she ran off. Definitely she took off, being upset while her crush didn't like her back. All too accurate. And I kind of assumed they end up together, which is why I'm gonna put this book in the meh category, because, well, you can assume that they're gonna get together, but it took a long time. There was a build-up. I liked the build-up, but it didn't go well with me. You can tell I'm impatient. I liked fast books. I love the line, but with the rushed engagement, and at the end we know whose lady was still down in this book. It was kind of boring for me, in a way. Next is To Sir Philip with Love, which is Eloise's book. Eloise, being Eloise, runs off to Scotland to meet the man she's been writing to, who is Sir Philip Crane, a single dad of two whose wife just killed herself. This is a grumpy sunshine sort of book where Philip is the grumpy one and Eloise being the sunshine in the book. This is going to go at the perfect tier. I liked how it happened in one place, Romney Hall, with Anthony, Benedict, and Colin, and also Gregory, the four brothers, the Bridgerton brothers, storming in to find the unchaperoned Eloise with another man at his house. They tried storming in just to protect her and actually, frankly, kill him, but they didn't end up killing him. I also liked how Gregory was trying to make himself, being the youngest and all that, he tried to make himself like the bigger person, literally the bigger person, and nobody really took him seriously. Everyone took him for granted. So that's why this is gonna go in the perfect tier. Next is When He Was Wicked. This is Francesca's story. So this book is about Michael Sterling, who was in love with Francesca Bridgerton, his cousin's wife, who is the Earl. And the cousin, who is the Earl of Kilmartin, dies. And I don't know, this book to me was boring, very boring, that I'm going to put it in the nah category. It was a very long and boring plot line. It took me a long time to get there, and it's great for people who like slow burn romance, but not for me. I'm very impatient, so this is going to go at the bottom of the category. Next, it's in His Kiss, which is Hyacinth's story. Well, talkative Hyacinth meets Gareth St. Clair, who is Lady Danbury's grandson, and Hyacinth, who knows Italian, helps and bonds with Gregory to help him decode a diary from his paternal grandma, who wrote the whole diary in Italian. This book is going to go into the perfect tier. I love the plot, the bond Hyacinth shared with Gregory. It was like they were on a mafia heist or a jewelry heist because they were going to find the jewels. I liked that whole bond. They were like best friends, lovers, I don't know, cousins. I don't know. They were like everything in one, but they were not a couple at all. So I really liked how they were molded to be a couple at the end. So this is going to go in the perfect category. The eighth book for the seventh sibling on Bridgerton, On the Way to the Wedding, which is Gregory's story. Well, I'm gonna explain again. Gregory's story comes before Hyacinth's story comes before Gregory, even though she's younger than him, because women used to marry earlier and men used to marry in their 30s or 40s, but women in the aristocracy married at the age of 17. They debut at 17, 18. Well, when you're 21, you're considered a spinster. But for the men, they didn't have that. They could be bachelors until they were frankly 60, and people didn't care. So that's why Hyacinth's story comes out first before Gregory. So in the book of On the Way to the Wedding, in my opinion, Gregory here is very dramatic. He likes one woman and gets, well, dramatically upset about her marrying someone else. So he pins for that girl's best friend, who is Lucy, and runs around London trying to stop her wedding, almost getting killed at the end. I like this book so much, I'm going to put it, well, you guessed it, at the ultimate tier. Oops. I'm going to put it at the ultimate tier because I loved every single part of this book, especially the thriller at the end. There were like no faults in this book at all. I loved it. It was a page turner in its own right. I loved it. Finally, the last book is The Bridgertons Happily Ever After. This is like a what happens next after each book, with one part just dedicated for Lady Bridgerton. There are 9 parts in this book, so before each part, there's like a one-page note with a summarized version of the book before that. So you get like before the second epilogue of Let's See the Duke and I. At the front, there's gonna be the Duke and I as a summarized version, so for you to refreshen yourself. For those who didn't read the books in a long time and are now gonna start with Happily Ever After, so you don't need to go and read that book again, or you don't need to be thinking what actually happened, why are they suddenly talking about something here. So it kind of like helps you in a way. So I like that. This is gonna go to the ultimate tier because I absolutely loved for each part and what happens next. I personally liked the parts for when he was wicked and for Violet in Bloom, which is, well, Francesca and Lady Bridgerton's story. I liked Francesca's one because I liked how the author wrote about Francesca struggling with infertility, which was actually very different from every single book and every single epilogue in that Happily Ever After book. And I also liked Violet's Lady Bridgerton's part where we get to see her at every scene, from her being young up to her at her old age, talking with Daphne about why she didn't remarry and all that. So that is why I put that on the ultimate tier. There you have it. This is my ultimate tier ranking list. I have for the ultimate tier, I have An Offer from a Gentleman, On the Way to the Wedding, and The Bridgertons' Happily Ever After. For the next tier, I have To Sir Philip with Love, and It's in His Kiss. Then I have, on the satisfaction tier, I have The Duke and I and The Viscount Who Loved Me. On my meh tier, I have Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, and at the nah tier, I put When He Was Wicked. So there you have it, my complete Bridgerton book tier ranking list. My reading style might differ from everyone else's, so let me know your opinion on how it should be ranked. Like, give me your list. So ignore me for saying the word so way too many times. I do it when I'm nervous. I may do another tier ranking list for the Bridgerton characters of season 2 on the Netflix show. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye!